What's up, everybody? Welcome to Queer Girl. Wait, I'm not on Queer Girl Straight Skates right now. Am I on the Moxi YouTube channel? Oh my goodness, I'm at the Moxi warehouse. Wow, okay, so I must be here at the Moxi warehouse because I'm gonna create a video today telling you how you can customize your Moxi Rainbow Riders. Did you just buy a pair of Moxi Rainbow Riders, or have you gotten them recently and you realize that you kind of want to change something about it? Maybe you want to change the way they look, or maybe you don't feel completely satisfied with the way that they skate and you want to change that a little bit. Well, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to take the Moxi Rainbow Rider and I'm going to do all the customizations that I think would be awesome to do on these skates if you wanted to increase your experience and upgrade your Rainbow Riders a little bit, if you will. Now, this video specifically, I'm going to be taking the Moxi Rainbow Rider and doing customization specifically about this. If you are customizing a different pair of skates, there are some other options that you definitely should look into, and I'll mention those at the end of the video if you want to check that out, stay around, or even fast forward a little bit and get there. But you can also use this video as a reference guide to switch out some things on your other skates, even if you're not using the Moxi Rainbow Riders as well. So we're gonna go into toe stops, wheels, cushions, laces, insoles, all sorts of fun stuff. So buckle on in and we're gonna get right into it. Okay, so the first thing that we're actually gonna do before we even start upgrading or changing anything on our skates at all is we're actually gonna take our skates almost completely apart. So I'm gonna take everything off of my skates. And the reason why that is because I'm trying to show you a full customization when it comes to this Rainbow Rider. So anything that I need to remove in order to replace it, I'm just gonna do that ahead of time. So I'm beginning with a blank canvas. So the first thing that I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna remove the toe stop, and there are many tools that you can use for removing all of these items and putting them all back on. So before we really pull them apart, let me tell you what those tools are. So the one that I'm probably going to be using the most is the Y3 tool. And the reason why I really like the Y3 tool is because it has spaces where you can remove the wheels. So you take off the nut that holds the wheels on. It has a space where you can remove the nut that holds on your cushions in your trucks. And it also has this little crab area that is for removing any sort of adjustable toe stop. So you're gonna be able to use it for lots and lots of different things. There's also the Y4 tool. This is another option. If you see when it comes in the package, it has different sizes of sockets, and that's gonna be for different parts of your skate. And so this is also another option, but if you're using this, you might also need to use either a crab tool or something else to get that toe stop off. And then if you're gonna need a crab tool, the crab tool is the thing that can get the adjustable toe stop off. And so that's this part right here. And then if you have a crab tool, that's actually good enough to, one, remove your toe stop, also change your wheels, and then most of the time, perfect. That other part of the crab tool also fits that nut on the bottom, so you can use that. So a crab tool would be one of those tools that you could use just on its own. But the only thing about the crab tool, and the reason why I'm choosing not to use it today, is because it sometimes hurts my hand. If the thing is on there really tight in any parts of the skate, then I have a hard time actually like wrenching it and getting it off, but it definitely does the job. And then the final little tool that you could use as well is this Moxi Vice Versa tool, and this is to remove the wheels off of your skate. So going into it, I'm gonna start by removing the toe stop, and the way you remove the toe stop is by taking that crabby part of the Y3 or your crab tool and putting it onto the nut that's holding on the toe stop. and then moving it to the right or to the left, depending on how you are looking at the skate. So when you're loosening your toe stop to remove it, you're going to go by the typical rule of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So if your skate is facing you in this direction, then you will attach your Y3 or crab tool, whatever you're using, to the nut, and then you will do righty-tighty or lefty-loosey. So if you're trying to remove it, you will move it to the left, and then that will loosen it and you'll take it off. However, if your skate is facing the opposite direction, it's going to be the opposite. So instead of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, it's going to be switched. So let's remove that toe stop. So a lot of times, all you have to do is just use your tool to just loosen it up a little bit, because that last part is gonna be pretty tight on there because you don't want it to fall off while you're skating. So it might take a little arm muscle, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to put a little weight on the actual skate and then push down in order to break that. And then once you've loosened it, usually you can go in with your hands and just loosen the toe stop for the rest of the way. So as you can see, as I'm pulling it out of this little area, I'm using the lefty-loosey method. So I'm twisting it to the left to pull it off. And then you'll end up with a little washer, a nut, and your toe stop, and you can set those to the side. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the laces. And if you've ever unlaced your shoes, same concept for skating. So you will untie your skates, and then you will pull them out through each of the little holes and unlace it. What's fun about replacing the laces is you can also actually adjust the way you lace up your skates for different outcomes. So if you wanted to maybe tighten the skate in certain areas, you can do that with different lacing patterns. And so you can find different lacing patterns and try those out when you try out different laces on your skates. So check out the Moxi YouTube channel. There's videos about the different lacing patterns that you can use, and you can also just click up here. All right, so I've taken off the laces. I'm now going to remove the insole. So once you've taken off the laces, you can pull the tongue forward. Don't worry, it's not gonna fall off. It's just like that. You'll see inside the skate that there is an insole that you can easily just reach in, grab, and pull out, and it looks like this. So we're gonna set this to the side. Okay, so now we have the top part of our skate pretty naked. So now we're gonna move on to the wheels. And the way we remove the wheels is, again, we're gonna use one of the parts of the Y3 or the vice versa tool or the crab tool. What we're doing is we're going to take the one that fits this nut, which was not that one, it's this one. And you might have to try a couple and just figure it out. And then you'll put it on there and you'll apply the same righty-tighty, lefty-loosey method. So I don't want them to be more tight, I want them to be more loose. So I'm gonna move it to the left. And something that's very helpful is actually not to do it in your hands like I'm doing, but to actually set it down on a table or a stable surface, because then you can press down a little bit on the skate. Make sure you're holding the wheel in place if you want it to go faster, and then just unscrew that nut. And then once it gets pretty loose, you can just remove it, put it to the side, and then pull off your wheel. Put that to the side. So we're gonna repeat that for all 4 of the wheels on this skate, and then we will have no wheels on our skates. The one really important thing to remember though, is that these little guys, they like to run away. And we really don't wanna lose the nuts that we have for our wheels, because if we lose these nuts, then we're not gonna be able to make sure that our wheels stay on our skates, and skating without nuts on your skates is very hazardous and would definitely not recommend it. So make sure to put these in a safe spot away from your animals, because they will knock them down or steal them or think that they're pretty. Not speaking from experience. So we've taken off the wheels, and now the last part that I'm gonna do on this skate is I'm actually going to remove the trucks and the cushions. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna take the bigger little one that I did not use for taking off the wheels. I'm gonna use the bigger one, whichever one fits on this nut that's on the bottom here. And then same idea, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I would recommend stabilizing this somehow. So with the Rainbow Rider specifically, the uppers are so stiff that it's actually easy to use the uppers to stabilize yourself a little bit. And what you'll do is you might need to put a little bit of power into this one. So you'll twist it. And there might be a little bit of resistance at first. And usually you'll have to do quite a bit of the twisting with the actual tool. And then when it gets to the top, you'll be able to pull it off with your fingers. And then you will just kind of, you're wiggling it off so that you are careful to make sure it doesn't just fly off and hit you in the face, because that has also happened to me, because you have to put a little bit of strength into it. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, it's stuck on here, it's probably not. You just have to put a little bit of more power into it, and that's normal. One thing that I do want to mention is when you're pulling your whole skates apart, something that often runs away off of your skates that you might not be intending to take apart is the pivot cups. So if you look at the skate, right here, you have these two little cups, and sometimes they're in there really tight and they won't come out, and you'll be like, great, life is good. No pivot cups running away. And other times, the pivot cups will be like your 16-year-old kid who wants to sneak out to the movies and you want them to stay at home. So you're like kind of paying attention, but really they're like being very sneaky and trying to run away. And that is exactly what happens sometimes with pivot cups. So you have to keep your eye on your pivot cups. Sometimes you will not realize that your pivot cup has fallen out. And if you don't realize that your pivot cup has fallen out, that's gonna actually be really difficult when you put your skate back together and you start skating on it. And also pivot cups are so small that they're very hard to find. So just keep an eye on your pivot cups. You have two on each skate, in the front and in the back. Last but not least, we're actually going to remove our bearings from our wheels. And the reason why I'm doing this is because you may be buying a new set of bearings and a new set of wheels to put together and use for your skates, or you might just be buying new wheels and using the same bearings. So I wanna make sure that I show you how to remove the bearings from your old wheels in case you need to reuse them for your new wheels. So when it comes to bearings, bearings are the things inside of your wheels that make your wheels spin. Each wheel has two bearings in it. And when you purchase wheels, they do not come with bearings. You have to purchase the bearings separately. So you're going to need to purchase 16 bearings for each set of wheels that you want to use bearings for. Not saying that you can't reuse bearings. People reuse bearings all the time. You can definitely move bearings from one set of wheels to another. So don't feel like just because you got a new set of wheels that you have to get new bearings. You do not. But that being said, let's talk about how to remove the bearings from your wheels. So there are multiple ways to do this, and there isn't one best way. There are ways that people prefer and don't prefer. One really easy way is to use a bearing press. However, most people don't have a bearing press or have access to bearing press, so we're not gonna talk about that. Another way is to use like a hand bearing tool, but I don't have one of those on me right now, so we're gonna talk about a couple other methods. So one way that you can remove the bearings from your wheels is you can actually use your trucks. So if you removed this wheel and then you were to use the post from the truck and actually get it in there and pull out the bearing, that is one option of how to remove the bearing. Some people don't recommend it because it can strip the bearing, but some people use it, and it's totally up to you what you're willing to put your bearings through or not. The option that we're going to do today though, is we're actually going to use the Y4 tool. A little tip or hack is you could probably also use a screwdriver or something else that is the same-ish size and is strong enough to take a little bit of pressure. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this part right here and then we're gonna put it into the wheel, and then we're gonna try and hook onto the inside of the bearing and use it to push it out a little bit and then pull it out of the wheel. So then you have your bearing and it is off of the wheel. So the Moxi Rainbow Rider wheel and some other wheels have something in the inside between the two bearings, and it's called a spacer. This helps to separate and make sure that the bearings are working smoothly together. It depends on different wheel sizes and like the different wheel style, and that would be why that's there. But I just want to let you know that it exists so that if you happen to be pulling off the bearing and then, you know, a spacer goes flying, you know, that's okay, that was supposed to be in there. It's not like a surprise that we hid for you inside of your wheel. If you are in a space where you're switching your bearings from one set of wheels to another, something you might like to do is to clean your bearings. Moxi has a YouTube video about cleaning your bearings. So if you want to watch a video, Carly is awesome and she helps to teach you how to clean your bearings. And you can go ahead and click up here to watch that or see it in the description below. So since I'm not actually going to be using these bearings in the new wheels that I'm putting on the Rainbow Riders, I'm not going to take the bearings out of all of these wheels. I just wanted to use this as a demonstration to show you in case you needed to know how to do it. So now I have a completely naked and totally ready to customize roller skate. I'm super excited to upgrade this Rainbow Rider and make it my own and make it a little dream upgraded Rainbow Rider skate. So the first thing that I need to tell you though is that you might be like, Rebel, you're only doing one of the skates. You're right, nice catch, viewer. Appreciate your attention to detail. If you're upgrading your Rainbow Riders, I highly recommend that you upgrade both of them. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're actually going to put some insoles, new insoles, into our skates. Now you might notice that these aren't skate insoles. These are just regular insoles that I got at the CVS. These insoles are going to work for the skate, and the reason why that is because insoles like this, they are usually like size, this one is size 5 through 10, which means that you cut it down and adjust it to the size of whatever shoe you're putting it in. Your skates are exactly the same. So you're gonna want to put an insole, especially one that is customizable, meaning you can cut it and make it your shape. You're gonna wanna take it out of the package, put it in the skate, feel how big or small it needs to be, and then cut it down so it fits exactly that size. Now, lucky for you, I've already cut some down perfectly for my Rainbow Riders. So these are just Dr. Scholl insoles. They're plushy, they're going to give me a little bit more comfort and support while I'm skating. The reason why I wanted to put some insoles in is that sometimes I have issues with my arches, or sometimes different parts of my feet just kind of hurt when I'm skating. And if you'll notice, the arch support or the insoles that come in the Rainbow Riders, they're very, very thin. So they really don't offer that extra support that I might be looking for. An insole is a great way to upgrade not just a Rainbow Rider, but any skate that you're looking to get a little bit more comfort out of. And it's like a hella cheap customization compared to every other customization that you can do for skates. So when you're going shopping for insoles, there's going to be a lot of different options for insoles for you. Like, I wouldn't just recommend that you pause this video, screenshot this insole, and go to the CVS and demand that they give you this one. What you really want to look for is what you're wanting out of an insole. Maybe you need more arch support. Maybe you need a little bit more cushion as you're walking or skating. Maybe you need a little bit more strength and support in different spots of your foot. That's all up to you. So make sure you take a little bit of time and, you know, ask Dr. Scholl, see what he says. For example, the ones that I really chose and that I decided to put in these skates, they're actually created for plus size women. So they're created with a little bit more support in different spots on the foot in order to accommodate for a little bit extra weight. So what I do is I just take this, and obviously if you are just taking it out of the box, you're gonna wanna put it in first and then kind of mark where it's at and then cut it to fit. But this one already fits perfectly, so I'm just going to stick it into the skate. And sometimes you have to really get in there with your fingers at the toe box area, because since they tend to be kind of thin at the top usually, you have to kind of push it down and like adjust it into the toe box. So it might take a little bit of maneuvering. Don't panic, you'll be okay. It'll happen for you. And then you'll have an insole. Cool, so our insole is set. The next thing that I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna put on some new cushions onto this skate. Cushions, I think, are one of those game changers that you maybe don't realize that you can even change. If you look at this skate right here, you can see that the cushions are these little black things that are in between the metal that are on the kingpin. The reason why we might want to change out the cushions is because the cushions that come with the Rainbow Rider specifically are very hard. And while those hard cushions might be good for some people, they're not going to be the best for everyone. And so there are multiple different hardnesses that come in cushions. There's a soft, a medium, a hard, and there's a whole video if you want to learn more about cushions and you want to go in depth about that. You can go ahead and click above or go in the description and find that video and watch it with one of our cushion experts who can really take you through the process. But essentially what you're gonna do is you're gonna choose a cushion that you think will be best for you based off of your skating style, your weight, etc. And you're going to choose that, and then we're gonna go with those. The one thing that we do need to know when we're talking about customizing the Rainbow Rider is you need to choose cushions that are for the REACTOR. So this cushion set says Magic Cushions and it says Universal Cushions. This is not the one that will work for the Rainbow Rider. You need the REACTOR cushions. Those are very popular, so it might be sold out at times, but you just have to keep your eye out for it. And if you go on the moxiskates.com website, if you go to the REACTOR cushions and then you put notify me, you put your email in there, they'll email you when they get in stock, and then you can easily just, you know, buy them as soon as they're in. That way no one else takes them from you because you need your little upgrade for your Rainbow Riders. So I have some REACTOR cushions that I'm gonna put on this skate, and so I can show you kind of what that process looks like and what it does when we start skating on them. Where are they? Here are these. In the midst of this process, as you just saw, like I lost the cushions and I just have everything on a table in front of me. So it's really important that you keep track of all of the different pieces. I would even have this video playing and then pause it and make sure that you're putting things on the correct way so that you can really make sure that you're not like putting things on incorrectly on your skates and then you start skating and then everything goes topsy-turvy and you're like, what happened? That's definitely happened to me before, so yeah, do this. So the first thing that you're gonna do is you're actually gonna put the retainer onto the kingpin. Once you put the retainer onto the kingpin, then you are all set. It's like a little nest for your cushion. So then you're gonna put the first cushion on there, and this cushion is the first one you need to put on there. It is the one that has the same shape throughout. So there's a difference between this one and the one you're gonna put on next. And one of them has a little crown, a little indent, and the other one has no indent at all. And so we're putting on the non-indented, the same across the board one first. So put that bigger one on that little nest. And then the next thing that you're gonna do is you're going to take your trucks, you're going to put it on top of the kingpin on top of the cushion, and then you're gonna make sure that this little guy right here goes into the pivot cup and that it's pretty secured there. So it should be all set in there. And then you're gonna take the next cushion and you're going to put it on top of the truck and slide it on there just like that. Then you're gonna take the second retainer and you're gonna put it on top of the cushion. Once you've done that, you're gonna take this nut, you're gonna screw it on a little bit, and this is where you definitely need to be using your tools. You can come back to the Y3, you can use the crab tool, you can use your Y4, and then you're going to take it and then you're gonna go righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So we're going tight, so with the right. And then with me, what I really like to do when it comes to my cushions is I like to count the number of rotations that I do so that I know that I'm starting out even on my skates. So I like to count like, okay, I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that means I'll start with 5 and then I'll start skating. I'll try it a little bit and then I'll adjust it from there. And it's all based off of preference when it comes to like how tight or how loose you want your trucks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna start with 7. So now I have one side all done. And now I'll do the next one. So now we have our, pretty much a lot of our hardware is assembled. So now we're just doing a little bit of extra fun stuff. What's missing from this skate? Well, it must be some wheels because we can't skate unless we have wheels on. So we have a number of options for wheels. I'm not gonna go through all of them because if I went through all the options for wheels, we would literally be here all night. And as much as I wanna like have a slumber party and like make some popcorn and talk about wheels all night, I have to go back to Queer Girl Straight Skates at some point. So we can put any type of wheels that we want onto the Rainbow Rider. There are no restrictions of like types of wheels that we can use on this skate. So don't feel like, oh, I have a Rainbow Rider, I can only use the Rainbow Rider wheels. That's not true. What we're deciding to use today is we're actually going to use some Fundaes. I actually decided to use some pink Fundaes, but I wanted to show you what the box looks like that they come in because it's so cute. Like, look, it's an ice cream cone. So we're actually going to use the Fundaes. We're gonna use the pink Fundaes. The reason why I chose the Fundaes is because I kind of wanted something that would be good both indoors and outdoors. I don't really wanna have to change my wheels more often. So I'm gonna choose a hybrid wheel, and the Fundaes are a great hybrid wheel. They're great for skating if you wanted to go start at the skate park. They're a good starter wheel for the skate park. They're something that I've worn many times to the rink when I was first like starting to skate the rink, and they're also something that you can skate outside on. So many options, one wheel. That feels like the way I'm gonna go. So the stock wheel that comes on the Rainbow Riders, the reason why I would wanna upgrade or change this is because this is just like a typical outdoor wheel. So it is a wheel that is good for skating outside and totally works. If you're just like trail skating or doing some basic skating, totally fine. We'll go over cracks and rocks and all of that kind of stuff. If you can see with the Rainbow Rider, there's a little bit more harsh of an edge. And with the Fundaes, it's a rounded edge. And the reason why I like the rounded edge is because it gives me a lot of agility. So I really like to, you know, go on the sides of my feet, whether it's dance skating or whether it's carving or whether it's just skating in the street. I like the option of not having that harsh edge when I'm like crossing over or when I'm skating. And so for me, the Fundae is really excellent for that because it kind of feels like the wheel is never ending. I just have this constant curve going for me, which is really nice. So that's the reason why I wanted to go with the Fundaes today. And again, the flexibility, the ability to just skate like from my house to the skate park and then back to my house is like great. So once we have our wheels, so we just got our little Fundae wheels and we're like, yeah, I got Fundae wheels. One thing to definitely check is, did you order 2 packs of Fundae wheels? Because a lot of people will just order 1 and not realize that there's only 4 wheels in a pack. And while that works today for me when I'm just upgrading one of my skates, it definitely won't work for you if you wanted to upgrade your other skate. So you want to make sure you're buying 2 packs of the wheels. Make sure you have 8 wheels coming to you. And then once you get your wheels, you're gonna be like, yeah, I have a wheel. And then you're gonna be like, I'm gonna put it on my skate. And then you'll be like, wait a second, it doesn't fit. That's because you need bearings. So we're gonna upgrade our bearings today as well. You could just take the bearings that we had in the Moxi Rainbow Rider wheels and then use them in the Fundaes, but today we're gonna give it a little upgrade. And the reason why we're upgrading our bearings is because your bearings, it is what gives you the speed. It's what gives you the ability to go fast and to not have to push so hard. Sometimes when you're skating and it feels like you're skating through mud, it's because either your bearings aren't really up to par or your bearings are really dirty and they need to be cleaned. And if they need to be cleaned, just go clean your bearings. Cleaning your bearings is an awesome thing to do that helps to really enhance their effectiveness as a bearing. However, the stock bearings that come in the Rainbow Riders are actually bearings that can't be cleaned. Like, you can't clean the bearing, and that's because there's no cap. Like, it's all metal, so it's not, you can't separate it out and clean it. So if you wanted to upgrade your bearings, I actually think that's a really good idea, especially if you're feeling like the wheels or something is slowing you down, because bearings are what gives you speed. Bearings are what pushes you forward and makes it so you're having to do a little bit less work when it comes to skating. At the park, just on the trails, anything like that, trying to get more momentum, a lot of that comes down to the bearing. And so while the bearings that do come stock with the Rainbow Rider are significantly better than many others that come in skates of the same price range, I would recommend switching out and upgrading those bearings if you wanted to customize, enhance, upgrade your skates. Now, if you are a brand new skater, the Rainbow Rider stock bearings might actually be perfect for you. And the reason why that is because they're not going to just speed out from underneath you. Like, you're not gonna end up going like super fast without you pushing your way through it, which is part of the skating experience. And so these are actually really good bearings for just starting out. So don't just get your Rainbow Riders, especially if you're a new skater and think, oh man, Rebel just told me like I have to upgrade my bearings. Like, no, you don't. You do not have to upgrade your bearings right away. In fact, you don't ever have to upgrade your bearings. But once you get a little bit better at skating, you might want to upgrade your bearings so that you can focus your efforts less on giving yourself speed and more on like doing tricks or doing other things on your skates. So essentially it's something that enhances your abilities once you get higher in the level of your skating. So what we're doing today is we're not even upgrading our bearings to something super amazing and like fast and wild. We're really just upgrading to the next level. And these are the Quik Zenith bearings. These are just going to be kind of some standard bearings. When you look at them, you're gonna be able to tell that the difference right off the bat is that there's a shield covering the actual bearing part, and the back of the bearing, or what's underneath the shield, actually looks like this. And what having the shield there allows you to do is it allows you to clean your bearings and then use them again and just kind of enhance their performance if they're like they end up getting dirty or muddy or there's not enough oil in them, all of those things. So we're gonna make sure that we have enough bearings for all of our wheels, which is 16 bearings, and then we are going to put these into the wheels. So there are many ways to put a bearing into wheels, and a lot of them require tools. So like a bearing press or the push bearing tool that you use with your hands. But if you don't have either of those tools, there are a couple ways that you can go about it, and most people prefer that you use the tools, but there are also other options. So the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna use my truck, but if you wanna see another cool like hack of how to put your bearings into your wheels, Dita made a really cool video on the channel, and it is all about another hack of how to put your bearings into your wheels, and you can check that out here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to put the first bearing onto my trucks. And so I'm gonna put it shield side facing down, open side up. If you have a bearing that has shields on both sides, then it doesn't matter. Put it on however you want. And then I'm gonna put the wheel onto the truck as well. And then all I'm gonna do is I'm going to press down until it clicks in. And then check it out, it just clicked in. So then I'm gonna do the same thing for the other side. So I'm gonna put the shield side facing down, the open side facing up, and then I'm obviously not gonna put the side that already has the bearing. I'm gonna put the other side onto the skate, onto the truck, and then I'll just press down, it'll click in, and voila, I have a wheel with bearings in it. And then one way to test it to see if they're in is you can put your hand and your fingers on either side with a little bit of space and then spin it. You're like, oh wow, it works. The next step is to put our wheels onto our skates. The way we do that is pretty simple. The same way that we took our wheels off of our skates, we're just reversing that process and putting them back on. The one thing that you want to make sure that you do is you want to tighten it enough where it is tight, but that the wheels still spin. So what that looks like, and what I started doing when I was first like figuring out how to maneuver my skates, is I would just tighten them like to like where it hits a natural stopping point, and then I would go like this and I would say, okay, clearly it's not done, like this isn't right. So then I would put this on here and I would loosen it in like quarter turn segments, so not even a full half turn, and then I would spin it and I'd be like, oh, okay, look, that spins, that's pretty good. And then I might say, oh, maybe it might need a little bit more, so I might loosen it a smidge, and then go like that. Oh, that's it. That's the money. So then we want it to spin for a long time. So now we're gonna do that for all four. One little tip that I always double check whenever I am tightening or loosening my wheels is you wanna make sure that they're loose enough to spin, but they shouldn't be loose enough where it lifts when you go like this. So if it lifts at all, you might want to tighten it a little bit more. And again, just even in the smallest fractions, it really is going to make a difference. Now that my wheels are on, I am pretty stoked on how this is looking and how it's feeling. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to replace the toe stop. Now there is a big thing that you need to know about the Rainbow Rider toe stop, and that is this toe stop and this little section is not going to fit all toe stops. So if you wanted the brake pedals or if you wanted the Gumball toe stops, neither of those are going to fit the Rainbow Rider. So don't buy those toe stops to upgrade your Rainbow Riders. But the Rainbow Rider toe stops, we do have stock in other colors. So there's the blue one, there's the yellow one, and then there's also an orange one. So if you wanted to replace your toe stops, that's what you would do. Buy the Rainbow Rider toe stop, and those are guaranteed to fit your Rainbow Riders and work as new toe stops for you. So why would you want to switch out your Rainbow Rider toe stop? Well, you can have a different color, and we always like to change different colors and things on our skates to make them feel fresh and new and exciting, maybe to match a new outfit. And so there are other color options, so you could switch it out just to change the color with your mood or with whatever. Or if you've been using your Rainbow Riders for a while and the toe stop is pretty worn down, If the toe stop gets super, super worn down, it's not really gonna work like a toe stop anymore. It's kind of like an eraser. Once you've used all of the eraser, you can no longer use that eraser. Or if it gets down to the nub, it's gonna be really hard for it to be effective. And so the same thing applies to toe stops. If it gets all the way down to the nub, it's gonna be really hard for that toe stop to do what you need it to do. So at that point, you could switch out your toe stop and maybe then you pick a different color. So today we're picking yellow. So we wanna make sure that the nut and the washer are both on our toe stop. The washer should be on the outside, and the reason why that is because if the nut gets loose, then we wanna hear the washer rattling. If you're ever skating and you hear that sound, then you know that your toe stop might be about to fall off. So you should stop and see if your toe stop needs to be tightened, because trust me, when you fall because your toe stop fell off, that is not a fun moment in life. And if we can just avoid that, because we all fall for other reasons anyways, let's avoid falling off because our toe stops just fall off. And that washer has saved my life so many times, I can't even tell you. So make sure you have that washer on there. Once the washer and the nut are on there, you can just put it onto the skate in that little spot where the toe stop originally was. You're twisting it to the right. So again, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. How many times am I gonna say that in this video? Put in the comments how many times I say righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I would say if I had to guess right now, I'd probably said it like at least 9 times. But you tell me, I don't know. Okay, so once I've screwed it in enough where it's like pretty tight according to my hand strength, I'm not just gonna leave it there. And the reason why that is we put a lot of pressure on our toe stops when we're stopping or when we're walking on them, and it would be really easy if I had just screwed this in with my hands to unscrew it by a movement or even something you hit or a spin or something like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this like semi-tightened up toe stop and we're gonna throw either our crab tool or our Y3 tool, and we're gonna put it on that toe stop, and then we are going to tighten. So remember, if the skate is facing you, you're gonna turn it to the right to tighten. And if you are having your skate face away from you, you're gonna turn it to the left to tighten it. So once you do that, and you wanna put all your strength into it, because the more cemented in there, the better. Then you have your toe stop on. All right, we've come down to the very last part of customizing this Rainbow Rider. And that is that we are gonna put new laces on our skate. What we're gonna do is we're gonna choose, according to the video that we watched about how to lace up your skates in different ways, we're gonna choose how we're gonna do it. I'm just gonna lace them up in a pretty typical way. And the reason why I wanna upgrade my laces is because putting new laces on your skates is like putting on a new outfit. You get to choose the color, you get to choose how it enhances your skate, but also I would argue, and this is a personal opinion, but I would argue that the laces, like the core derby laces, which are my go-to, especially for like really tightening up my boot, which is something that I personally really like, is to have a tight boot. For me, when I'm using the stock Rainbow Rider laces, they don't tighten hard enough for me. You can tighten them, but if you are a person like me who's very aggressive with their skates, those laces will be more likely to break if pulled like super taut and if you are like really intense with them. So for me, I knew it was like an automatic that I just needed to upgrade to these laces because I already knew I was gonna be intense with my laces, and so it was just an easy no-brainer. Gosh, it actually looks so good with this blue. I wish that we had put blue Fundaes on it. All right, I just finished lacing up my skates. Check it out. This is the upgraded Rainbow Rider. How do you think it looks? I love it. Now, I kind of decided, because I have the black Rainbow Riders, so I really wanted to do something that was like mismatching, that I could have a bunch of different vibes to go with the actual skate. But if you have like a certain color that you really like if you have the pink Rainbow Rider and you just want to pinkify your skate, you could put pink and like pink laces and all sorts of stuff. If you wanted to do the yellow and put all yellow, like those are some really cool ideas. You could even put black laces on here, or you can play off of the red that's inside here. So I think that there are lots and lots of options of how you can upgrade it. And I would love to hear how you decide to upgrade or customize your Rainbow Riders. So put it in the comments. Like, have you customized your Rainbow Riders already? Like, have you put different things on your Rainbow Riders? Have you upgraded different parts? Do you want to? How would you choose to upgrade or customize if you could? Tell me in the comments below. As I said before, there are so many different ways that you can choose to customize your skates. You can switch out the trucks, you could switch out the plates, you could add slide blocks to your plates. Now, I don't necessarily recommend switching out the plates or putting slide blocks or different trucks on the Rainbow Riders, because at that point, I think it might be just better to invest in a better skate. However, there is one more thing that we can do to customize this Rainbow Rider, and I haven't seen it done, I don't know, ever on the internet. Maybe I'm wrong, I'm sure Reddit will tell me, but what do you think the one thing that we are going to do to finalize our customization of this Rainbow Rider is? Put it in the comments. It's gonna be in a video coming out very soon. Let me know what you think. If you wanna support the Moxi brand and all of the awesome skaters that are on this YouTube channel and work for Moxi Roller Skates, then consider buying from moxiskates.com. You can get the Rainbow Riders, you can get all of the things that I use to upgrade my skates, minus the insole, on the website, and by doing that, your purchase goes to supporting roller skaters who work in roller skating and making this channel come alive and helping us to pursue our dreams, and also helping you to pursue your wheel dreams. Bowie, you got some news to tell the world. You had surgery. Yeah, it wasn't fun. You got some teeth pulled. Yeah, and now you're wearing the cone of shame? Yeah, I know life is hard, but the show must go on, right?